this is punishing the parents ultimately for the child's crime, holding them responsible for his actions. Do you think that this sets a precedent? And if so, what is that precedent?
You know, I do. I feel like the prosecutor in the case stated that this isn't precedent because it was such an exceptional case. But I actually do think it does open the door. And I think, especially with school shootings, where there is this emotional response from the public and the media, where this country is fed up with their children not feeling safe at school. You know, it used to be the safe haven while we were growing up. We never anticipated. Look, I'm a child of the 80s. The only thing we were afraid of was nuclear war from Russia. Things have changed drastically. And because of that, I do think when we have a school shooting case, I think any prosecutor in any state is going to look into the family dynamic, what was happening at the home, what the parents knew, what they didn't knew, and the accessibility of that weapon. Because, Brittany, I'll tell you, if the weapon is not safely secured, I do think parents will be liable in some capacity for their child's actions.
I do know that this is an exceptional case. As we've been talking about, there are exceptional details here. But as a defense attorney, do you see this in any way as a sort of slippery slope?
I do. I do. I think I especially believe if it is a case that attracts the public and the media attention, I can see this bleeding into other aspects. But I absolutely believe that every school shooting from this day forward, there will be examination of the parental actions. And I think that slippery slope, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to extend to a child, let's say, God forbid, taking a knife into school, poisoning other children. There are so many different ways. I would be surprised if this bled into other aspects. But again, they're opening a door that we've never had open before. And I think the other issue too, there is a pandemic right now of school shootings. And I think until parents feel safe to send their children to school, I do think there's going to be a natural consequence of any other child that decides to, do a mass shooting. Their parents are going to face the consequences.
And the parents here obviously are facing the consequences. Do you think this sentence, though, is an effective way of deterring school shootings and gun violence going forward?
I'm hoping that maybe parents will be a little bit more attentive to a child who is in need. I don't think children will care about this sentence one way or another, especially a child who, I think we can all agree, a child who goes into a school and wants to hurt has a lot of issues. So I think for a child and their short way of thinking, it's not going to affect their decision. But I'm hoping that parents might be a little bit more careful if they find a drawing that is troubling. If they get text messages of a child saying, Mom, I don't know what I'm seeing, I need help. I think all of that together, it needs to be recognized and handled in a reasonable fashion. And I think that's really what this case is going to show parents.